This is really something special. Hello and welcome back to Jacob's Toys. Please do like, share and subscribe. Any support to the channel is very much appreciated. And do check us out on Instagram at Jacobs_toys. So today's video is a little bit different. Ordinarily I collect 6-inch figures, mainly Marvel and Star Wars. However, I've been sent my very first Hot Toys courtesy of Planet Action Figures. I'm very excited to see what's in the box, so let's dive straight in. So my plan is to open it up on camera and to give you my initial thoughts and feelings in regards to the 1/6 scale figure. Now obviously Hot Toys are designed very differently to the Marvel Legends that I'm used to, so this should be quite an interesting video, at least for me to make and hopefully for you guys to watch as well. So let's just get straight in and get the initial reaction. Get rid of that bubble wrap. Oh. So I mean the box is quite big. Okay, let's put that over there and have a look at this. Oh. Now straight away you can see that I mean the box in itself is completely different to the kind of boxes that I'm used to. It's really cool. It's got like a sleeve on the top. It's got like a holographic kind of glow to it, and obviously there is Spider-Man in his upgraded suit from the movie Spider-Man Far From Home. And you got like a window box here as well. There's lots of Mysterio kind of emblems across the box as well. And then there's all the names of the people that created the figure, which is actually a really nice touch and not something that I'm used to seeing with some of the other figures that I collect. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah, I mean that's really nice. You can see straight away all the accessories there, the alternative head, the drone, the Mysterio drone. There's like a cell phone with actual messages on the screen as well, and like a crack. There's the Stark glasses, there's a mask that I assume he holds onto, there's the web wings, there's a whole bunch of different hands and various different web effects as well. But yeah, this is really something special. Yeah, so let's just dive straight in, I suppose. Okay, so a very quick look at the box, and the artwork is absolutely stunning. There's a picture here of Spider-Man in the upgraded suit fighting what looks to be some of the drones. And we have a quick look at the back. As I said earlier, there's the cast and crew, so all the guys that went into the production of the figure, which is actually a really nice touch for a figure, and not something I'm used to seeing on the boxes of the figures that I normally collect. Right, so let's get into having a look at the actual figure. Now this is jam-packed with accessories and alternative hands and heads, etc. I actually have no idea where you would even start with this, but I'm assuming it's probably multi-layered, so part of me actually wants to just leave it in the box because it actually looks so beautiful in the box, but of course it's an action figure, so I want to get him out so that we can pose him around and stuff. So let's just get straight into it and open him up. Have the name on the side. Do apologise that he's taken up a huge amount of the screen. Obviously a 1/6 scale figure is not what I usually review, so I'm having to adapt a little bit here. Let's have a look at how to get into this. We'll go into this layer first. So I'll just pop this out. Oh, and there's another layer there as well. So I'm going to need a knife to just cut along the sellotape seal there, and we can get that out. That's obviously all of the hands and the web wings, which look awesome. And they look to be magnets on the web wings. Lots of different poses with the hands there. Obviously open hands, closed hands, web hands, peace sign. We'll get into those in a bit, put them aside. And let's get this little side one out as well. This one's got obviously an unmasked head, a cell phone there, with actual writing on it as well, actual messages, and what looks to be like a crack screen. And you've got the Stark Tech glasses, obviously, that we saw in the movie, and then a whole bunch of different variations on the eye as well. The actual unmasked head looks just as good as the one on the figure, which is a nice touch. And now let's get into the actual main figure. Let's just get this plastic off. It's very, very well boxed, I'm going to say that much. A lot of time and effort and production has gone into the packaging and box of this particular item, which I assume is just standard for hot toys anyway. So let's just put that aside and get in. And there's even more here as well, not just the figure. So we've got the unmasked head of Tom Holland. Let's just get that out and have a look. And that is really, really realistic. Yeah, they've really captured his likeness here. The glossy effect on the eyes is a nice touch as well, makes it look really, really realistic. Hair not so much, but the actual sculpting of the hair is very good. So I actually have zero complaints with this as an unmasked head. Whether I'll use it in my display or not, I'm not sure. We'll put that aside. And let's have a look at this web effect. This looks some kind of web projectile. Feels very fragile, but looks the part. And then here we've actually got more web effects as well, various different lengths of web being shot, and one with like a right angle there, which I assume he holds onto some way. And it's actually really nice how much of a variation of web effects you've got, and the detail and the finish on these alone is absolutely stunning. So I'll just put that back in the case in there for a minute, and I'll come back to that when we've got some of the hands open. I really like the packaging that allows you to sort of store all these effects so they're not going to get lost or broken. As part of the stand, which is sort of standard clip frame stand. They're very well manufactured. Put that aside for a minute. Let's have a look at the drone. This is a little accessory that wasn't announced when the figure was announced. It was the surprise accessory, and the finish on this is absolutely stunning. It feels a little bit small in comparison to the drones in relation to the figure. However, I think in relation to some of the 6-inch figures, it will look the part. So I'm definitely going to use that at some point for some figure photography. We've got another web effect here with more of a bunched up effect. And now let's get into the actual figure. The box is still actually quite heavy with just the figure in it. Comes out really nicely. Lots of packaging here to protect it. And the finish on this is actually stunning. But I'll get to that in a sec. Just get the rest of the bits out. So we've got the actual stand here as well, which has got a nice finish to it. Obviously, Spider-Man upgraded suit name tag there. And here are the bits that go into the back of that. Let's just get those out. And there's two there, one for Spider-Man and one for the drone. What's really nice about these is that they bend. So you can actually put them into any pose that you want. So you can have your figure in a number of different poses. So they both bend, and we'll get to those a little bit later in the video. Now, that's everything from the box. So let's just put that aside, because I'm definitely going to keep hold of this box so that I can store it all when I need to. Let's just move this out of the way and actually look at Spider-Man himself. So, this is the figure. Now, one thing to note is there is a lot of packaging here, and there are bits kind of sellotaped to both his hands and his feet. My initial thought is how I'm going to get these off, because obviously I can't cut them because of the material of the suit. If you've not got any Hot Toys yourself, the suit is soft goods, so it's like a rubbery feel, as you can see there, and like a soft material feel. And there's a lot of articulation here in the waist. You can move, backwards and forwards, side to side. Legs go up, down, knee articulation, foot articulation, everything that you would come to expect on a human-shaped figure. I'm going to have to get these off without causing any damage to the suit, but with the power of editing, I can take them away and bring them back with those removed. As I said, the articulation is quite nice. Now, I wouldn't want to overextend things because, as I said, it's a soft goods costume. And interestingly enough, in the leaflet that I'll get to in a bit, it does even say not to leave him posed for too long in any particular pose because it could cause damage to the suit. So I'll just put him in a really basic pose there just so that you can see him. But it's really, really realistic. This definitely looks like it's straight off of the screen. And in comparison to 6-inch figures, this is definitely a lot more lifelike. Kind of reminds me of like a really premium Action Man type figure. But let's just put him in the standard pose so I can move him back and you can kind of get a look at him in full. Let me just adjust the camera so that we can see him. Okay, just move it up a little bit so you can see his head. There we go. Yeah, all in all, my initial thoughts is I'm really, really impressed by this. The quality of finish on his suit, on his mask, right down to the detailing of the web kind of design on the suit itself. We just pop off the head, you can see it's a ball peg here for the alternative head. Actually comes off really easily, which is nice. I was a bit worried about it being quite difficult to come off. If you look even on the soles of his feet, there's so much time and effort that's gone into the detailing. You can see there's some of the details on the suit itself. But I'll have a closer look at that a little bit later. But yeah, it's really, really nicely finished. It feels nice, the texture's nice. There's a lot of movement here in the actual costume, so that I can definitely get him into a nice pose for display. Let's turn the feet out so they all stand up. And he stands pretty well. If I have a closer look at the head, you can see even in the eyes there's detailing in the mask. And there's like a bobbly kind of feel to the whole red part of the costume as well, which is really, really nice. And gives him kind of an extra depth. So if I get the unmasked head and we just pop that on as well, it goes on really easy. Just a quick push and it's on. And you can see even down to the proportions, it's absolutely stunning. Looks like it's straight off of the screen, which is really unique in comparison to the figures that I normally collect. This one's got a real sense of realism to it in comparison to some of the 6-inch figures that I've normally collected. Let's just get the glasses that go on as well. They are metal, which is a nice touch. They're not plastic, they are metal. They feel very fragile, so I wouldn't want to leave them out and step on them or put something down on them because I think they'd break quite easily. But they go onto the head quite easy. Just slip over the ears like normal glasses would. And there we go. There he is, Peter Parker with his Tony Stark AI glasses. Which is a nice look. Looks a bit Kingsman-y for me, so I don't think I'll use it as a displayed look. And then there's your unmasked head. And I think you just hold that there like that. What's a real nice touch is that even that mask is made and it feels as if it would just kind of go over his head. Obviously I'm not going to try that though. Have a look at the cell phone here that we spoke about earlier. There's a nice like gloss finish to the screen. And you can see that there's a couple of messages there from like MJ and Peter Parker going backwards and forwards. Like an iPhone, I guess. And there's a crack on the screen there as well. No branding on it obviously because they can't say what type of cell phone it is. But all in all, very nice. Let's take these glasses off and put them back in the box because I do not want to lose or break those. Let me just have a very quick look at the masked head and take these eyes off. There's little magnets in there so they sit flush and they don't fall out, but they are very easy to just pop out. I say as I struggle with this one. However, it's the first time I'm taking them out, so obviously it might be a little bit stiff. But essentially there's a magnet and an indent there, so the magnet goes into the hole and then the new one just slots on and locks in place as so. Just like that. So it's very, very easy to change his eyes around. You can see these ones are slightly wider than the ones that were on there. And I quite like that as a look. Let's get a couple of the others and just have a look at how they look. Again, you'd have to really make sure that you keep all of these accessories in a box or in the box that it came in so that you don't lose them. If I get one of the other eyes, I'll just pop these wide eyes out. See how simple they come out. There's a little bit of pressure and they come out. And the other ones slot in just as so into the holes with the magnets. And there we go. We've got like the squinted look, which looks like the kind of instant kill look that we got in Endgame. Obviously, if they were red, then. But I quite like that squinted look. You can obviously mix and match as well to give him kind of a winking or a beaten up look. I mean, that looks like he might have been in a bit of a fight, which is quite cool. And then for some reason as well, there's even closed eyes as well. So they're just completely shut. If you put them in, then he's got his eyes closed. Not quite sure why you would use those, but it's a nice accessory to have for the sake of figure photography, etc. So I'm just going to put back the wide-eyed ones that I put on a minute ago because I quite like that as a look. It's kind of a signature Spider-Man look. I'll just put those back on and put the others away in the box. Really, really easy to swap them over, which is a nice touch. And then that's all of that stuff from that particular box, and I've just put it back in there to keep safe. So let's get into the web wings and the hands. Here we go. And before I do so, I'm just going to show you very quickly that it also comes with like a little pamphlet booklet as well. Let's just grab that for you so you can see it. Here we go. And if you open that up, it tells you how all of the various different bits work, how they connect, what to look out for, etc. What bits do come off, what bits don't come off, and how to obviously change the eyes like we've just done, how he holds his phone, his mask, how to swap the head around, etc. So if you're stuck with anything, it's there in the booklet. So let's take a look at those web wings. So if I get those out of the box here, just open that up. They are made of a plastic, but it almost feels like glass. Really nice finish. There's obviously magnets there, and in the book it says that he should just line up and stick to the magnets within the figure. I can feel the one on the leg there. I can't feel the one underneath his arms, but I might be putting this on back to front. I'm not quite sure. I need to have a proper play around with that and actually look at that in a little bit more detail. But you get the general gist of how they attach. It's actually really nice that they're... Oh, dropping it there. It's really nice that they're not pegs, as you get on a lot of the smaller scale figures. And the use of magnets is actually a really nice touch. And I assume that if I can figure out how to do it properly, it will give a nice sleek finish. Now I've got no intention of actually displaying it with the web wings, but they're definitely something I might use in a photograph or two moving forward if I can figure out how the damn things attach properly. Yeah, so that's thereabouts, but you get the idea, you get the gist of how they work. Obviously that's not on him properly because there's a gap and you can see the magnets, but you also get this nice piece that goes in between his legs as well, so he's got the full kind of base jumping kind of setup there. Let's figure out how these go in, but again they're attached by magnets. So there we go, you get the gist of the idea of how they look. I'm not going to attempt to put the other one on because these are not attached correctly. I definitely need to have a proper play around and figure out how they go on so that they're flush with the figure. But you get the general gist of how they look. And the actual finish on them is really, really nice. Just move that around, it feels, yeah. So that's definitely not attached how it's supposed to. But as an additional accessory, this is not something that you would ordinarily get with a 6-inch figure as standard. They would normally come as like a deluxe or something extra with another figure. So to actually get all of these alternatives and additional accessories within the standard pack of one figure is really quite nice. And it's something that I'm not quite used to. So having a lot of different looks and different variations for photographs and whatnot. As I said, the actual finish on these wings is really, really nice. If I just hold them up, you can actually see that there's actually a lot of detail and work that's gone into those. You can see that they're transparent, so you can kind of see him through them, but you can also see there's a lot of detail there. Now these are the little magnets, they're attached into the actual wings, so they're not going to kind of fall off. But I'm going to go back and have a look at those at a later date. So let's get into the last of the accessories, is all of the alternative hands. Now if I just grab one of the web shooting hands, you can see here that there's not actually anywhere to put the web in. What it actually comes with is an additional piece, so you pop off the palm of the hand and replace it with the additional piece that's got the web shooting element in it. So here's the additional piece. As you can see, there's just pegs there, and it basically slots into this part here where the palm is. So, and if I put that down, I'll just get this bit out. By taking the hand off, you can see there it's just a simple peg, and you just have to pry it open. Now I don't want to do it too hard because I don't want anything to snap, but I'm assuming if I get my nail into it here, it should be quite easy to pry out. I say as I struggle. There we go. Just a little bit of pressure there, and it's starting to come out. As I said, I'd be very careful with these because they are only done by pegs, and once one of the pegs snaps, obviously you're then going to be faced with a bit of trouble. But there we go. There's the missing his palm, so then you get the corresponding bit with the web fluid, and you push it in, and there we go. It's exactly the same, but now with a web shooter. So pop that back on, I'll just put him into a little bit of a pose that's kind of shooting webs. So just the standard kind of Spider-Man web shooting pose. And if I grab one of the pieces of web, now this is plastic again, but it's very, very fragile. I can imagine too much pressure, it would snap. So you do need to be a little bit careful, but you need to apply just the right amount of pressure to push it into the actual hole. Now they're all built the same, so this is another one as well. Then they all basically go into all of the holes. So if I just push it in, and just see there, turn it around so you can see. You just apply a bit of pressure and it slots right in. And there we go. And essentially gives the illusion of him shooting web from his wrist, which is really nice. It actually looks as realistic as somebody shooting web from their wrist could look. And definitely gives a lot of options for photography and posing. There's a handful of different pieces. So this long piece here, you can attach the effect to the end of it, and then again that just slots into it, and then he's shooting like a web projectile as opposed to just a straight web. And you've got another hand here for his right side, which goes onto the punched up web as so, and then it looks like he's holding, so that's obviously like a web swinging hand. So there's your web swinging hand. Now I'm not going to put him into a pose to actually swing at the moment, but I will just put the hand on so that you can see what it looks like. So if I just pop that one on there, and there you go. So it creates the illusion of him swinging. Obviously it does move around a little bit, so you've got to play and get it into the right pose. But it's a really nice effect that gives the figure a completely different look than just your standard fist or open palm hand. So you could get him into a really nice kind of mid-swing pose so that he's holding on with one hand and swinging away with the other. And that just pops out as so, nice and easily. Again, just be careful that you don't snap any pieces, because if you do, it's going to render it kind of useless. And then this L-shaped one from earlier just again slots into him like this. So I assume again some kind of swinging pose there. He wouldn't stand like this. This looks like he's walking his dog, but even still, it gives you an idea of how you can either have dog walking Spider-Man or swinging Spider-Man. So you've got your open palm hands, your web crawling hands, which is a nice touch. You've also got kind of your gripping hands as if he's kind of ready to fight or reaching out for something. And then, as I said earlier on, you've also got like a peace signal sign as well for his, his left hand, which is a nice little addition. So you can set him up in the kind of selfie PS4 kind of selfie pose, which is nice, and I think I might try that one in a little bit. Let's just take this web out of his hand and have a look at the base. Now this is going to be difficult to showcase properly because obviously it's a lot bigger than the screen, but that was the actual base plate. And then if we get the pegs that I showed you earlier, just get them out of the packet, come with a handful of different attachments and various different clips and stuff so that you can get it into all different poses. But essentially you've got your main peg for the figure, which obviously attaches into the stand like so, and it just screws in there, and then you just screw that in. Hang on, screw that one into the base so it stands nice and tight. Take this little peg off the top, and then you can just push a clip on there, and that will essentially hold your figure in any pose. And that obviously bends and stuff as well, so you can get them into any kind of pose that you want. I'm actually really impressed with the stands. I think these are really nice stands. And then you've got your second piece here, which the drone goes onto. And there's a little clip there at the end, so that you would clip it onto the, and let me get the drone. So you put the drone onto the stand as so. Sorry, you're just looking at a stand at the moment, but let's just let me get him. There you go, there's a little peg there that goes into the bottom of the drone and holds that on nice and tight. And then this little peg will essentially screw onto the main stand, and then you can get him into any kind of pose that you wanted. So yeah, there's an actual screw there, so you'd have to undo that screw and tighten it up. And then you can have your drone kind of flying around Spider-Man, chasing him, fighting him, flying beside him, whatever it is that you want. So yeah, as a stand, that is a really nice piece of equipment and quite a premium item in itself. Not everybody even uses the stands, so to have such a premium item in the box is a nice touch. As I said, you can move these around however you want. That's really quite unique. So let's just get the figure back. Here he is with his peace sign in a kind of a selfie kind of pose. And there's your drone just flying alongside him. As I said, it's a little bit small in comparison to the screen, but I think with the 6-inch figures, that drone will be a really nice accessory to use. So all in all, what are my thoughts? As an action figure, it is stunning. There's very little you can do to fault this figure. It's very screen accurate. The costume is exceptionally well made. The only problem with the hands is that there is a little bit of a gap there, so that it does kind of break the illusion because you can kind of see the peg. However, with the closed fist hands, you don't get as much of that problem. So they're probably the better hands in my opinion, but obviously a little bit more limited. But as you can see with the alternative hands, there is that little gap there. But if you have a look at the detail in... Actually, let's put the fist hand back on just so that you can just pop that back on. Nice and easy. Actually, swapping hands and heads is really quite simple on this figure, and I expected it to be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, as a figure, really can't fault him. The detail is exceptional, right down to the detailing on the suit. The articulation is nice. The accuracy to the screen is pretty much spot on. It's got a really nice texture, as you can see here, the kind of bubbles which make it really stand out as something special. Even on the wetsuit element of the suit, you can see all the scales and the lines, etc. The attention to detail really is absolutely second to none. However, comparing it to the normal 6-inch figures that I normally collect, is it going to replace those in my collection? I don't think so. I think as a one-off or a couple of items as a centerpiece, they are absolutely fantastic. But in relation to what I like to do with the figures that I collect in regards to customizing and photography, etc., you can't really beat Hasbro's 6-inch line, especially for the price point when you think about the price difference between a premium item like this and the lower cost 6-inch scale figures. But as a figure, it is absolutely stunning and flawless. I mean, I cannot fault it for detail and articulation and accessories, even down to the details on the box. It is an absolutely stunning figure. Thanks very much for watching. If of course you do like the channel, please do like, share and subscribe. Any support is very much appreciated.